Hello, good afternoon. Sean Dyche has just done his press conference. Jack, are you fired up and ready for Saturday now?
That was just ticking me bingo card, to be honest.
Okay.
For getting the phrases in, change the narrative, nuts and bolts, Premier League experience, different ball game. You got them all in there. Fair play.
Fair play too.
Now, it's a weird one then to Saturday because we are obviously coming off a win and it does give us somewhat level of a lift, but obviously against that level of opposition, it's what have we really shown? And he still seems a little bit coy on whether we are going to see the likes of Ndiaye finally come into the team in the Premier League. And for me, that if Ndiaye especially, and you want to see O'Brien in there as well, but I think Ndiaye is the one for most of the fans that when that team news comes out an hour before the game, that is sort of going to set the mood for the match to a degree for a lot of people, because I think for me and I think for a lot of Evertonians, he needs to be in the team. And the manager is still being a little bit coy over whether, is he ready? Premier League, this, that, we're working with him. Just get him in the team.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be in the team. Just judging by what the manager said, that doesn't mean anything. Could be playing games. Ashley Young will be at right back, I think, rather than putting Seamus straight back in. But might be wrong on that one. Roman Dixon definitely won't be starting. So we'll see. It will give everybody a lift, I think, if Ndiaye, as he calls it himself. But we'll see. We'll see. But who knows? Who knows? He could give everyone a lift. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and it's not going to decide the game on itself. He's only one player, and I'm not trying to overrate one individual player based off a performance against Doncaster. It's not that. It's just the idea that we need something new. We need something new, and that's not going to be in the form of 5 new signings tomorrow because we don't have the money for that. But he is one of the players that we've managed to bring in. He is, out of the lot, the one who seems the most settled in because he's had the biggest performance so far and he's had the minutes off the bench. He is just that little flicker of light that you hope, gives everyone a lift, and not just in terms of the personnel change coming in for Decore or whoever he may come in for, whether he puts him on the wing, but just the idea that one of the things we always criticise this manager for is, the stubbornness, the loyalty to certain players, not willing to be brave and change something. It's a sign, isn't it? It's a act of commitment to, no, we're going to be brave here. We're going to bring in this player that you all want to see and is showing glimpses of a bit of quality and a bit of bravery on the ball.
Definitely. Just a couple of things. Adam Mangala's on his way to Everton. Be here later for his medical. So if the Fiorentina stuff's nonsense, and I don't know who reported, someone reported that was it Toffee Blues or something, but they just took it from DiMaggio, but it was nonsense. He's on his way here. Toffee, what is hour and 15? What is that in reference to? Can't be. Well, just let us know what it's in reference to. Yeah, I'd play Ndiaye because you give everyone a lift, don't you? You give everyone a lift and you go, right, we're doing something different. The first 2 games haven't gone as planned, and this is what we're going to do. And we're trying something different because we've got to change the narrative, as is what he says. Let's do it. Let's get on the front foot. What's really interesting to me is the Calvert-Lewin stuff. Because I'd still, even now, I would still be surprised if he's here tomorrow night at 11. I really would. And I know he's the manager saying we've had no bids in. And maybe they haven't had a proper confirmed bid in. But I would be surprised because Everton, I don't think Everton can afford to let him walk out for nothing.
No, when you look at potential sellable assets that Everton have, he's one of very few, isn't he? Then you look at the fact that we pay him too much money to be getting nothing out of him and not being able to commit to him because he's not committed to us because he wants to move, which is fine if that's what he wants. But we as a football club need to put our foot forward first and go, okay, if you're not going to be here, let's sort something out. Let's get it sorted now. We can get money in for you. We can get your replacement in now rather than needing to address this in a year and having you sat around for a year thinking, well, I'm off anyway in a year, so it doesn't really matter. It wouldn't shock me if no one is massively interested in that team. It wouldn't massively shock me if he doesn't move, just because he's no one's first choice. He's no one's first choice.
I would be surprised, honestly. Just what I've heard.
Who buys him now?
I don't know, but I'm just saying I would be surprised.
I get what you're saying, because
and we know that Everton are
it's been an open secret for a long time, hasn't it?
For the striker today. So that's, I don't know. Against Saturday, it changes. He's still here. He's here. And he's our play till January. And then we'll have all this again in December. He's going here, or he can sign a pre-contract there and all of that. I get it. I would just be a bit surprised if he was still here, but the longer it goes on, the more likely it looks like. Unless Everton have got... But where you are now, the problem that Everton will have now, though, is once it goes past tonight, I still think he can go. We could go up till 11 o'clock tomorrow night, by the way, but it means that on Saturday you ain't got a strike. You've got Beto, and you've got nobody else. Maupay's gone, not that you'd want him as an option anyway.
No.
And then, other than that, Njai becomes your other striker just for this weekend.
Yeah, other than Chimiti, maybe.
He's
but
injured though, isn't he? So it's
yeah,
irrelevant.
True.
So therefore, it'd only be better would start on Saturday, and then what happens then? Do you know what I mean? So it is and I know the football club will go, it's not about one game at the weekend. It's about the rest of the season. You know, we can get through one game. I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, it easily could move tomorrow, but there'll be less and less time for the club to react, won't there? And especially if they don't know exactly what sort of fee we'll be talking for him, because we don't have sort of that much bargaining power, because clubs will know he's not signing a contract there, or it doesn't look like he's going to be signing one. He wants out, the club are happy to sell him. I think if someone does come in for him, I think you will get someone trying to test the waters a little bit and trying to come in a little bit under our valuation of him, because teams will know we don't have that much bargaining power when it comes to Dom at the moment. But we just need to get it sorted, don't we? And I think it is going to be dependent on what happens with other players and other transfers, because he's no one's first choice at the moment, seemingly. And I think the only scenario in which someone might come in for him is they miss out on their first or second choice to bring in a striker.
Yeah, he's only really going to get those clubs who would want just a backup. Really, isn't he? It seems. Don't know. There is also, although I don't believe Everton will play into this, but there is the Saudi Pro League windows open for another week after this. I think once Everton can't replace him, I don't think they'd sell him. But then again, if someone said we'll give you 25 million for him,
yeah,
would Everton be able to go, no, we're not having it because we haven't got anyone?
I think if you've got the money to spend, and you know, okay, we've got another few days to sell this fella, bring in his replacement now, and in a few days he'll go, fair enough. But we're not in that scenario. No. We need it guaranteed. We need him out the door before we can bring someone in, because we need that money guaranteed. Otherwise, there is no money to go and get a striker, is there?
No.
And I don't think, as much as he's not really performed this season, as much as, we spoke about on M-Tag, keeping a player around who's not necessarily committed because he's, got one foot out the door, it's not really a great situation to be in. You're not going to get the most out of that player if they're not necessarily motivated. We can't let him go and not bring someone else in, because we are not blessed with goals at the moment, and he is a goal scorer.
In all fairness for the club, I don't think the club would do it.
No.
I think they've sort of let it be known they're prepared to let him go, but they've got to have a replacement lined up. So we'll just have to see, won't we? We'll just have to see. It's an interesting one as we move through the next, what is it, there's 8 hours, 30 hours, 32 hours or something to go, just less than it. It's one to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, the only bonus is we are at the business end of the window, and magically deals that seem to take weeks to complete earlier in the window can be done in the space of a few hours at this point of the window if everyone gets their heads together and everyone can agree over the smaller details. But we're just going to have to see, aren't we? It is going to be dependent on what happens with other players first.
Definitely. Oral Mangala coming in. He'll be here later today for his medical. So what do you make of him? He's obviously got the Premier League experience. The manager's referenced that again. Be before. So what have you made of that one then?
Yeah, it's a positive sign, isn't it? It's not what we necessarily need at the top of our list of priorities, but there is no reason why we can't be working on multiple deals at the same time if the cash is there to do it. He's only a loan. He's coming in option to buy, not an obligation, so there's not going to be too much worry there. And he is coming in from Leon, who's obviously owner, is in talks to buy us, so you would think and you would hope have not been stitched on a loan fee, and it's not, a massive expense for the football club up front just for a lone player. But I like the signing. He has got that Premier League experience. I do think we need a body in the middle because we are a bit light there. And there was a little bit of panic this morning, wasn't there? Because there was rumours of him going away to Italy, to Fiorentina, but all the reports saying now he's on the way over to Finch Farms, having medical. The manager speaking about him there as well, saying he's on his way. So hopefully one will get done.
Yeah, I think he's coming in, isn't he? Let's be honest. I think the manager has watched him a lot of Nottingham Forest, where he goes and watches them, so he'll have seen him playing in the Premier League. Good age, he's in the Belgian squad, centre midfield player. He wanted a centre midfield player all summer, basically, especially when he knew Onana was going out. The one Belgian midfielder he plays for the other. And he'll add strength to the squad. I think the slight worry that I have is he going to be preferred over Irabunum when Tim's being he's number one in Europe at the moment in the top 5 leagues. Irabunum for tackles, interceptions and something else. There's like 3 things and he's topping it for everything.
You'd hope not, wouldn't you? And you'd hope if he does come in and displace Eric Boonham in the team, it's because he's, somehow doing even better. Yeah. But, Eric Boonham needs game time to develop and grow. But I think one thing we've got to be open to now, if we do bring Mangala in, is the idea of different midfield partnerships. We've seen Eric Boonham and Garner Gay start the season
together. Hang on, just pause.
Go on, sorry.
Mangala is coming into Everton today for his medical. Forget the Italy stuff, right? I'm not going to address it again. It was nonsense. Carry on.
Yeah, the idea of different partnerships between different players. Eric Boonham has been our best midfielder this season. I don't think that's really up for debate. Garner Gay, again, for me, is overall, he's Everton's best midfielder. That is another thing I wouldn't really debate. Together, they haven't massively gelled yet, and yet it's only been 2 games. That could easily change, but maybe their games don't massively complement each other. And even though on paper that is looking like your strongest partnership, maybe you have to be open to different partnerships and come in, and maybe it's Eric Boonham and Mangala. If it's not them, if we want to rotate, maybe it becomes Garner Gay and James Garner, and we just have to look and
have 3 flat midfielders. The 10 doesn't work. With the core, it doesn't work. It's
take the core out then.
Take the core out and have them 3 as a flat 3 and play with.
But that's another one, isn't it? It's another option, isn't it? It's another option in terms of how we set up, because we've seen in the past, even when Abdoulaye Doucouré hasn't necessarily been performing, we've struggled with him out the team because this system needed someone in that role just to perform its basic functions. Because we didn't have the midfielders, we didn't have that level of depth to go, we'll just go to a flat 3 and, we'll play a different style. So at least it's that option as well.
Yeah, definitely. Robber's Dog, hello to Juan and Gary, by the way, but Robber's Dog says, what do you think a good performance smells like? Sean Dyche has just referenced smelling a good performance, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Salted caramel biscuits.
Oh, not biscuits. Salted caramel.
What
do you think?
Sweets, those violet sweets.
Like Parma violet?
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
They do have a nice smell.
I think it's strawberries and cream.
Yeah, true.
Just, not overpowering,
but yeah, it is a little bit mellow though, isn't it? You want something a bit stronger.
Yeah. Strawberries and cream actually smell of anything?
Yeah, like
isn't that just like what we think they smell of in like air fresheners?
When I have a Huel strawberries and cream.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's not really strawberries and cream, is it? Yeah. They've added something to it.
You pipe down, get your work done. Yeah.
Yeah, or what about like a nice steak sizzling on the grill?
No.
And you can smell it. You can it's like, you've got something cooking there.
No.
You smell what the Dyche is cooking.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Fair play, Jack. Fair play. You're up there. There's a few people who are on your train.
Yeah.
Smelling what Dyche is cooking, yeah. Everton Viking says, how would you guys rate the transfer window currently? And would you see it as a failure if we don't secure a winger?
Yes.
I would,
Yes.
to be honest with you, because it was the thing. The reason why I would see it as a failure is because they've wanted a winger the whole summer.
Yeah.
The whole summer, and they've spent money, and they haven't got a winger. So I would see it as a failure. Do I believe they'll have a winger? Yes, I do.
Yeah, especially when you look at the type of wingers they've been after as well. When the two main ones have been Wilfred Gnonto and Jan Minter, two young, pacey players who we don't have anyone like that in our squad. A young, explosive winger with pace. Can come inside and get goals. We don't have anyone like that. And, you know, say they were to bring in a winger who, you know, comes in and plays as a winger, but is another Jack Harrison, Dwight McNeil type who doesn't fit that. It would feel like a downgrade from what we were aiming for earlier in the window, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. If we can get Nuamar over the line, then that would be a very good sign. And I think I wanted him last summer for Leon took him. I think he would be a good signing. He's pacey, got pace, he can play either side. I've seen people going on a left-footed right winger. Everton have wanted a left-footed right winger who's quick for a while. I would have loved a right-footed right winger, but as long as he's got pace, and Nuamar does use his right foot, he does get on the outside and throw them in with his right foot as well, so he doesn't always want to check back inside. But having that pace that he's got changes the team, particularly on the counter-attack. So if Everton can get that deal done, hopefully they can, that would be a good sign.
It would feel weird to have a fast player again, wouldn't it? Like a fast winger. We haven't had one for years, have we?
Be very, very nice.
Feel like the first time we see him, you know, like receive the ball into his feet and turn and like go past the man, I feel like everyone's heart will skip a beat a little bit because we've seen constantly turning back, get it onto your left foot, play it back inside. I think it's going to be like, whoa.
He can run.
That lad's running. Someone stop him.
What are you doing? So hopefully we will be able to get that one over the line, Everton Viking. But I think you're right. I mean, would you see it as a bit of a failure because that is what they've been after all summer?
Yeah, I'd see it as a confusing window, to be honest. When money has been spent as well, not that much of it, and of course will be tied up in instalments and things like that. Is obviously a priority going into the window as well, and they've made it clear they've wanted one because they've been looking at them all somewhere, and if we end up not addressing that, it would feel like a big missed opportunity by the club, wouldn't it? And you know, we do have some like Lindstrom, who it looks like if he plays football, he will play that football on the right wing, but he doesn't seem to fit that profile that we're looking for as, you know, a fasty paced direct winger. He's a bit more tricky, bit of a, you know, he's number 10, isn't he? He's playing as a wide 10.
A clever footballer. It's whether that's good. I think that can work if the opposite side is quick.
You need the option, though, don't you?
You need the option. We'll see, but hopefully they can get that done. And Mr. Mashiri can push that over the line for us. Glenn says it when I saw Maupay's comments on the fans at Euston, and I don't condone that behaviour at all. I had a feeling he already had 1 foot out of the door.
Yeah, he's had a foot out the door since he came back from Brentford, hasn't he? I think he knew...
The foot out the door when he went to Brentford,
yeah,
both out the door.
But he knew there was no future at Everton for him, and I think it says a lot, doesn't it? I put this on Twitter this morning, and the second lowest goal scorers last season, not scored a goal in the league this year, starting striker, not signing a contract, he might be off, and not a single person has went get Neil Maupay in that team. So he's not going to be missed. He's not going to miss us. Get rid of him, let him go and wind up the Marseille fans instead, and you know they can have a laugh for a few weeks at his funny tweets and then realise he's not as good at football as he is at tweeting, and
he is a better tweeter than a footballer.
You know what? Fair play to him.
He's good at tweeting.
You'd find him funny if he didn't play for your club.
I found that funny before.
Yeah, I think.
I'll be honest, because it's just like that. Just kind of sums you up. Do you know what I mean? It sums you up. So
maybe if he hadn't made those comments the other day, and I don't agree with the stuff at the train station, we don't need to get into that again, but he just reminds me of the type of person who likes to wind people up, and then when they give him something back, he's, whoa, come on.
He's done it all the way through, hasn't he?
I know, but say like, I came in here one morning and went, terrible thing happened yesterday, bad. So it was following this fella down the street, and I kept prodding him with my finger for ages, and then he'd turn around and hit me. You'd go, well, why are we winding him up?
Yeah.
And just go, it doesn't legally he still shouldn't hit me, but you know, it's going to annoy him, aren't
He's gone, and that's, you know, hopefully that is sorted, and I think it practically
let
is
us never speak of him again.
And then he's done. He's someone else's problem, isn't he? Josh says, went to look at the new stadium a couple of days ago for the first time in a while, and honestly, the videos do the size little justice. It is massive. Gonna be amazing. Yeah. You can't get anything from the videos of the scale of it. It's huge.
You know what?
And it's amazing.
Because I go past it on the train every day when I'm coming back from here, and looking at it from a distance, you go, it looks huge, but it doesn't look dead tall, and that's probably because the stands are obviously so steep in there. But then if you ever do actually walk past it, you are like, whoa.
Wow. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Marky did say that someone could be leaving at the end of today as well. Probably Mason Holgate, isn't it? You'd think. But he did say that, yeah. Steve P says, Baz, if we manage to pull off Numa, all is forgiven. He's literally the exact... This is Steve P. This is praise indeed. So Farad, if you're listening, sort of. He's the exact type of winger we've been wanting for years, arguably better than Minter. Also, I think Mangala is better than people think. Would have been capped 19 times by... Wouldn't have been capped 19 times by Belgium if he wasn't a really good player. And it would mean James Garner could possibly go to right back. And we could play a proper three of Mangala, Guy and Irabuna. Yeah. Ryan says, hope you're well, lads. Are you worried about the lack of transfer rooms on strikers, wingers? No. Despite not having the cash up front, they still should be doing their due diligence. I'm sure they are. Right, Nuamar is ongoing. They want him, that's out there now. It's probably got out a bit earlier than I wanted it to, but it's out there. They will be doing all that. The manager sort of just hinted at that anyway, saying
we're talking,
we're looking and we're seeing what's available. They are doing it. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean nothing's going on. Other people will take it at that. But
because striker is so dependent on, Dom's going to have to go for us to move for the striker. I'm sure they'll be talking to clubs and going, look, if we come into a bit of money tomorrow and need a striker, what are you saying for your lads? What are you saying for Armando Brower or the likes or whatever? What's going on here?
It's all right. We'll just sit here while music comes on.
Yeah. That's not a copyright strike.
Bloody hell. Yeah, no, you're right. To be honest, I think Everton have got, in my opinion, although if they really thought outside the box, they'd go and get Karim Konate in, and that would be a good signing. But I think Everton, I feel like they've got 2/3 options for a centre forward. One is Breuer, although he's injured. So therefore, and Everton have seemed to have been obsessed with him for 2 years. And Chelsea want him gone. So that, obviously, he's always an option. But he is injured at the moment. And I'm not sure how I'd feel about that.
Yeah.
David Datro Fofana is probably an easier and is fit. That option. Other than that, it's Elijah Adebayo at Luton. Who Luton seems to be letting everybody go if you pay the money. Benny's just gone off to Ipswich. He was very good for them last season. And the reason Adebayo, he's a powerful centre forward. He's like for like almost for Dom in the way of, I think Dom's probably better in some aspects and Adebayo's better than other. But he's someone who you can knock a ball up to. He's a bit of a handful.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be massively expensive either.
I think the fans would respond well to Adebayo because he does the things that we like a centre forward to do at Everton. We do appreciate a centre forward.
I like centre forwards to
mould.
score goals.
Yeah.
And we don't buy them.
No, but it's, stylistically, we like a big, powerful striker, don't we? And
see, David Datro Fofana, giving him his full name, has got loads of potential. He's 21. I think he's left-footed, and he has got a lot of potential. I watched him at Goodison for Burnley at the end of the season, and he wasn't very good that day. But I have seen him have good games, and he scored an absolute screamer for them down at West Ham and Burnley 2-2.
When he first came in as well, his first couple of games, he did look dangerous for it. At times, I think he did look a little bit lazy, or whether he's just off the pace because he's a younger player. But I think if there were any issues with laziness, I don't think we'd bring him in, because I think Dyche would have spoke to people at Burnley and said, what's this lad's attitude like? He'll still know people there, won't he?
Of course he will,
I think if we don't move for him, it will be for that reason. He's probably heard something negative about him from Burnley, or we look at another option, maybe like an Adebayo, who, like I say, would be a good player, although he is used to playing in more of a 2 at Luton, isn't he? Sometimes even coming from wide, so it would be a stylistic change.
If it's me, I think I'd probably It's difficult, isn't it? Because you're going, taking a chance on a striker, as in, and if it clicks, it's great, you know. I think Fofana's got that potential. If it clicks, you go, he's really good, and he gives us options.
He maybe has a little bit more to his game.
Yeah, a little bit, you know, and all of that. He runs in behind and things like that. I think he's a nice footballer. He's not quite the same profile as Adebayo. You can knock it long and he'll keep it and all that.
It also depends on what's your opinion on Beto, and people, I think he splits opinions in the fan base, Beto, because a lot of people really, really rate him. A lot like myself aren't as convinced, and it depends on, are we bringing in a striker to be second fiddle to Beto, or, you know, share that responsibility, or is someone going to come in and be our outright number 9 and Beto is going to be like undisputed second choice to him? And so I think that's probably a factor for people when it comes to deciding on strikers. Yeah.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because like I've said before about Breuer, he's got lots of tools where you go, you know what, you get him firing, be a hell of a player. Problem is his injury record.
And he's not been firing for a few years.
No. So you're almost having to rebuild him. And then again, it's like, will he ever do it? He might be one of those players that is a really good footballer, never gets anywhere near the goals that you need, and all of that kind of stuff, and that isn't great what we need. Adebayo is sort of, you can almost plug and play him right out the box. You know, you could throw the shirt on him and start banging it up to him, and he'll knock people about, and he's a bit of a handful and all of that.
And then Fofana's your younger player who you've got to come in and, you know, he's got to learn the nuts and bolts of such, obviously, as well, hasn't he? And you've got to grow with him as a younger player. The one
thing with Fofana, though, what I would say is he's got good feet. He can strike a ball 25 yards out, which we don't really, Don doesn't really do that. Beto, I don't think can do it other than hitting it off the ground, and things like that. And you can build with him, he can receive the ball in. He's a good dribbler with the ball. He's a calm finisher. You know, some of the goals he scored at Union Berlin, he's running clean through and just slotting it beautifully in. Even one for Burnley last year, I can't remember who it was against. I feel like it was Fulham, but I might be wrong. He got slid in and just dinked it past the keeper. Calm in front of goal. I don't think Everton haven't really had that calmness in front of goal since Lukaku. Probably not saying he's not nowhere near Lukaku's level. But will be slightly different. And obviously we've got Yusuf Chimiti to come back, who looks like he's got lots of ability and is a big lad as well. So Fofana probably would be my pick actually out the 3 because he's different. But I do like Adebayo, don't get me wrong. I think
Adebayo feels like the safest choice, which feels strange to say because we might be playing.
What about this? You know, you're right. What about this though? If you were planning longer though, I know what you're doing right now is you're going Sean Dyche, right? So therefore we do what Dyche will do, which is a big target, man. Knock it up. But what about doing something for Everton then, as opposed to Dyche?
Well, I think Fofana would be a good signing for us, and you're right, you do need to plan past Dyche and not just think within his framework, but he's going to be here for this season.
Oh yeah, no,
unless
I'm not
something
saying,
changes.
I'm not. Like,
and I think we need a centre forward for the now, if Dom goes.
Yeah, but don't you think Sean Dyche should work with Fofana? That's what I'm saying.
I think he'd work with him like he works with a lot of these players that he doesn't necessarily trust, and I think he won't really play him that much.
Okay, that's what I meant. I'm not saying we plan for life without Sean Dyche. What I'm saying is you plan for Everton. And could Sean Dyche use him? I think he probably could.
I think maybe
if he comes in and does well, the manager will play him. I think, listen, we know he has trust issues, Sean. We know that. But if you go in and perform, I don't think the manager's going to not play you.
No, it's getting your chances to perform now, isn't it? Performing and getting the chance to perform are two different things. I don't think he'd leave him in the cold, but I think it'd take him some time to commit to him up front. The only thing he'd have going for him is that he's obviously not that high on Beto either, and Chimiti he obviously views as a youngster. So maybe he would get time, you're right, but I think in the short term, definitely Adebayo is the one I'd look at. He'll come in and, hopefully get 10 goals, and that for us would be a big lift, and that's, Dom replaced.
Ped, out of those 3 I'm mentioning, listen, this all could be moot because Dom might not go anywhere anyway. But if Everton, if they're the three options, and I'm sure they've got others, I'm just mentioning three that I think are probably two of them. I think are definitely gettable, and one I think you would get if you'd offered them the money. Adebayo, Fofana and Breuer. I think we cross Breuer off as not real.
I don't get the Breuer hype.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think he had a good spell at Southampton.
Yeah.
And he's not done anything since, really,
Yeah.
whether that's be injuries or whatever. I do think there's something about Adebayo. I am surprised no one's gone for him in the summer. It's a bit weird, that, but I've liked what I've saw of him. But maybe that's just one of those things where someone comes back from injury and you just get that immediate uplift, and maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I think ultimately it'll probably be Chimiti. It'll be the sort of long-term successor of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think it was. I think it's who the manager probably looked at as being the long-term successor. Whether you have to do what we did with... Remember when Brands made that comment of when he was asked about Lukaku's replacements, and he said that the replacement is right here, and he was talking about Dom and Richarlison. And it might be a case of, listen, we don't score loads of goals anyway. It's not like whoever who replaces Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You might have an opportunity to put someone like Chimiti in, let him get the feel, the smell
of it
for it, and you suddenly find you've got a good player on your hands who's got a little bit different. So maybe it's him. You'd want someone else, of course, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin was to leave. You can't be left with two.
Yeah. Maybe one at the minute, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be, because you had an operation and you just don't know how long that's going to take to rehab.
Adebayo's played 4 games so far this season, hasn't scored a goal.
Isn't that a mad stat that Luton has only won something like 4 games this entire year?
Yeah.
2 against us. Or no, it's 4 out of the last something, and 2 of them are against us, and
it's something mad.
And the other one of the other 4's in the cup as well.
Something mad. But I don't know. He's an interesting one. I like him, but of his age and everything, you'd want that on quite a cut price deal. But
they might be prepared to do it now because they've let so many go. Fofana seems like the easiest to do for me.
Probably the easiest to get done, isn't it? I mean, maybe Brower's the easiest to get done because Kevin Felwell obviously owes him some sort of money or owes him a favour or something, and it'd be a good opportunity for him to come into a team. But I think we need to steer clear, to be honest. I like him as a player, but it's too big a risk with his form, with his injuries, and he needs to go somewhere and get his career back on track. But I don't want it to be Everton.
Ultimately, though, none of it's going to matter unless we get a wide player who's got pace. Yeah, who can deliver. I don't.
To anyone.
You can pick any Everton forward you want, whether it's Dom, Beto, whoever you want. Strikers at this club aren't going to score goals unless they're given ammunition, and that ammunition comes from wide players with pace who can feed the ball in, or a centre midfielder who can cut through. We don't have a centre midfielder. We're desperate for that wide player, and it is an absolute enigma how in a transfer window 2 years in a row you can go after Willie Gnonto, not get him, and not look for anybody else. Well, I think that to me is mad.
They are with Nuamar, and arguably Nuamar's ceiling is higher than what Gnonto's is. So if Everton get, and he's younger, if Everton get him, brilliant. But you're right, and I'll be scratching my head. Even if they need a decision on Nuamar later, if it ain't happening, then they need to go and do what they can do tomorrow. There is other players out there they can get. If the window shuts without them doing that I will look at it and go, no one can sit and tell me your recruitment isn't all over the place because you've wanted this player and you haven't got it. It's like, it's a bit like Liverpool's. Liverpool have wanted the number 6 all summer, and I've got a right winger and a goalkeeper.
Yeah, and they've gone after one, not got him, chased him for weeks, didn't get him, and it was like, sounds will get that winger in then.
But I think
they're a higher base.
Yeah, but that's the point, though, isn't it? For a club like that, they're looking at it and going,
specific.
What kind of quality can we add to our squad? We can keep adding players. And of course, we need quality all over the pitch. This isn't a done deal. Someone asked a question about left back, and he's absolutely right. First person I've asked, we've heard ask about that. But we know exactly what we need. Jack Harrison can play on the left.
Yeah.
Dwight McNeil can play on the left and central.
And inside, and left back if you need.
Nobody can play we don't have a right winger who can cut, who's got pace. We don't have anyone who's got pace. We need somebody, and it's so weird. Like, that wasn't the person you went, right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're gonna go down the list, and we're going to get one in regardless because we're desperate for one. I find that very strange, and as we've said loads of times, if we continue with that front four, you're going to get the same outcomes again and again and again and again.
And there'll be weeks when it works, but in general, see, if we would really just go and look, we can't get Nonso, I'd have took out Benny for 10 million. It was 8 plus thingy, because he's quick. I think he scored 5, 6, 7 goals last year for Luton. Now, okay, Everton can do better, and if we end up with Nuamar, I'd be delighted and go, you know what, we've done really well because we've waited and we've got someone with a really high ceiling. But if you end up not getting them and then you're looking around, you go, we've missed opportunities to get that wide man with pace there because we just haven't got it.
Yeah, I think he wouldn't have been anyone's first choice, but you're right, you know, in terms, if you miss out on all your other targets and it's coming to the end of the window and you go, well, okay, yeah, you know, he's got pace, but he's costing an amount that, you know, we probably can afford to revisit this next summer, but bring him in for a year, pay the money and he'll do the job for now. But he's obviously gone Ipswich now, hasn't he? But yeah. I think Nuamar, it feels like the transfer window almost rests on that transfer being done now, because it seems like he's the only one we're really in for, the only one we're seriously pursuing in terms of wingers, obviously, and they need to get it done now because they've faffed about for too long. They've spent weeks chasing Nonto, and that transfer is never going to happen ever. Leeds don't want to sell him to us, and we don't want to pay the money up front that Leeds would want for him. It's never going to happen, and you know, he would have been a decent addition, but walk away from that now, like they should have walked away from it weeks ago and spent the time working on another deal like a Nuamar.
Martin says no way Everton would sign a striker if Dom left now. We don't seem to be able to move quickly. But I think they are looking at options, to be fair. You know, and I will be critical of them if I hear differently and think that they're not doing the stuff, but they are apparently looking at options, and I've spoke to a few clubs about options just in case. So we have to give them the benefits of the doubt. We can criticise them tomorrow at 11:10 if Dom's gone and we haven't got anyone in. Jay says lots of talk of feel and nuts and bolts, etc. Odd Premier League ready. Been around a long time in management as well, apparently. So gauging what I can. Saturday will be Jordan, Ashley, Miko, Keane, Otaki, Idrissa, Garner, Dukes, McNeil, Dom and Jackie Boy. You might be nailed on with the team there. Who knows?
Boonham has to stay in, surely.
He's got to. He's got to. And he has praised Boonham in all fairness, so I'd be amazed if he let him come off the side at the moment. Anthony James says getting Keane out of the starting 11 is the most important thing. Bill says it will be the same team. We go 1 or 2 down, then he changes it, so it's painfully predictable. O'Brien should start too. I'd start him over Keane. He terrifies me against the kind of pace Bournemouth have. Glenn says Dynamite Jack only question. With the upcoming signing of Oreo Mangala, it does beg the question, what's your favourite form of Oreo cookie? A, standard Oreo biscuit. B, Oreo ice cream sandwich. C, an Oreo cake. Or D, Oreo cheesecake.
Oh, I've never had an Oreo cheesecake, you know.
Okay. So what would it be then?
I don't know. The Oreo ice cream sandwich is lovely, like, but I couldn't say I have them all that often. So I'd probably just go with the biscuit, you know, because it's easy. In it, you can, if you're starving, you can have half a packet quite comfortably, or if you just want 1 or 2 with your cup of coffee.
Oreos, you know.
Do you not?
No.
Not even the double stuffed ones.
I just don't like them. Zach loves that. I don't like.
What about the blonde ones?
Don't like Oreos.
No. No, I love. And
I'm not saying that I'm not going. I can't understand how you like them because I know loads. Like I just don't personally like. Are you an Oreo fan, Ped, or?
It's got sugar in it.
You eat Rockies and Kit Kats. And...
Saying has it got sugar in it?
I'll show you the fan of it.
Like it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair play to you. Fair play.
I'll tell you well, not that interesting, but a story about Oreos one time. I think there must have been about 13, and for my birthday, I got these birthday cake flavoured Oreos. Now they still exist, they're around, but these ones were, you know, like the white ones.
Okay.
like the blonde
White.
ones.
Okay.
But the birthday cake flavour, they don't do them anymore. And I've looked like high and wide for them. They don't do them. They just do
Isn't
the
it
regular.
far and wide?
Yeah.
High and wide, like
High
a
and
Beto
wide,
shop,
like,
25 yards.
like in the
Like a
Trisagana
gay straight.
Yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, I look for them everywhere, and they don't do those exact ones. They do the chocolate ones that are birthday cake flavour, but not the white ones.
You know
and
what I had
it
for the
breaks me.
first time when we were in Florida? A
What?
cake pop.
A cake pop. I've had one. They're
From
nice, aren't
Starbucks, I think they are, aren't they?
they? Very sweet. But
yeah, you can't, I mean, you'd have to take a bit of time, but they were lovely.
yeah.
I'd never had one before.
No, my mum's made them before, but
Has she?
yeah, she sells like
What's
cakes
your
and
mum's
that.
name?
Jess.
Jess.
Yeah.
Jess's cake pops.
Yeah,
A
but
nice
she
little
doesn't.
ring,
She doesn't
that,
really.
isn't it?
She doesn't do them all that often. But
okay.
no, she sells like birthday cakes and that. Like
Oh,
people.
does she?
Yeah. Like I'll show you some in a minute.
Is
but-
there some advertising here?
The advertising. Why have we never?
I know.
had any
Why have we
cake?
never experienced
We have
Jess's
literally,
cake pops?
we have literally, clothed and fed you for years.
And
mean,
we
you've never fed me.
celebrated like quite a big milestone earlier this year of the channel, and you didn't get Jess.
What was the
mi-
milestone?
10 years. That's like
Ah,
a huge
I win it.
milestone. Because
Well,
you were in
listen,
bed.
Yeah, I'll put a call in if you want, and I can
You
see
know,
what I
there
can
should
do.
be
But
some. It's your mum. I'll see what I can do. It's not your mate Dave.
she charges me if I want to like sort some. If I'm like, oh, like my mate's birthday's coming up.
I
like,
give you a reference for a new job also.
yeah.
That's also, I could have
But
written anything on
that's
that.
because you want. That's because you want to get me out.
I could have written you're a massive.
Get you out. We've literally just employed you. So what are you talking about? Tom Newton. So you've gone with what? Sorry, Oreo biscuits. Will be your
Yeah, I'd
choice.
go with the biscuits.
Okay. Tom says if the new ownership is sorted before the end of the season, I think it is. Hopefully, whoever it is, let Dyson Thelwell's contracts expire. Get Davy Weir in as sporting director and let him sort the whole football structure, including picking the next manager, Lee Carsley. Everton did try to get Davy Weir back, but Brighton had obviously already promised him Dan Ashworth's job. And so he took that, didn't he? But yeah, who knows? Because there was stuff the other day, wasn't it, that when Texter takes over, Ralph Rangnick's coming in as the sporting director.
Big Ralph.
So, I mean, that will be incredible.
Yeah, be
He's got an
ambitious.
Well, I know people give Rangnick some stick as a manager, but he's done okay. And he was absolutely nailed on about Man U, by the way.
Yeah.
He told everyone the issue. But as a sporting director,
He's got a good
fabulous.
track record,
He's
hasn't he?
fantastic. Because all of the Red Bull stuff and everything else, young players, getting them in, spotting.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant talent spotter.
And look,
Maybe Kevin Thelwell might be better, with a bit of freedom and some money to
Yeah.
do the things. But listen, I don't know, Tom. We'll see.
we'll see.
Who knows? Bill says need a winger with pace. If it's not the Leon lad, it's somebody. Are we saving our domestic loan in case Dom goes? Probably.
Possibly, yeah.
Probably, yeah. I'd take Fofana over Breuer. Yeah. Blue Keeley says reports suggest the Leon lad has no option to buy now. There's conflicting reports, but it won't really matter, will it? It's a loan. Let's have a look. Get him in.
And their owner could also end up being our owner,
yeah.
so...
Yeah, so that wouldn't be a sticking point for me in any way, shape or form. Ben says thoughts on David Datro for Fofana. We've just done it before. Jonathan says, can we loan another foreign player? We can have 6 international loans, but I think it's more likely to be 2 and 4.
Yeah.
I think you can only have 6 to stop stockpiling players, so...
And you can only have one per club, can't
per
you? We
club.
couldn't go and get
No, but we're
another one
buying,
from
if
Leon.
Nuamar comes off, we're buying
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
It's
But we
not-
couldn't get loaning Mangala, buy Nuamar and loaning another from Leon, for example.
No.
Or loan another from Napoli.
No. So, yeah. Jake says, should Garner be used more sporadically now? Age must come into consideration at some point, even though he offers something clearly. Pedro, do you want to answer that one?
Over the course of a season, possibly, yeah. But see. I didn't think Tim Mirabuna was very good on Saturday. I thought the game passed him by.
He wasn't very good on
let's
Saturday,
not
but
get,
one was.
Let's not get carried away. The game passed him by, and Garner's numbers and his numbers were massively.
You know
different.
that Irabuna's the number one midfielder.
No,
in
I'm not,
Europe
and I'm
at
not
the
saying.
moment.
What I'm
4
saying is
tackles and stuff.
What I'm saying is,
But I agree with you.
Garner's numbers on Saturday were miles better than in the Bournemouth.
So let's shoot some people.
So let's not let's take a step back. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, here the Bournemouth, from what we've seen at home so far, looks great. He's aggressive. He's on the front foot. He got a bit of pace. He wants to carry the ball forward. That's brilliant. But maybe sometimes that's not going to suit every game away from home. We might need games where it's James Garner or Adisa Garner-Gay or whoever to be a little bit more defensive. And so you've got to.
Tim Irabunum was Everton's lowest rated player across every site on Saturday.
Exactly.
Ever.
But that's not us. And by the way, that's just reality.
Yeah, just
that's a young lad going
game.
into a game which maybe just didn't suit him because Everton were playing very, very defensive, and maybe that doesn't suit him. And you know what?
Conversely, Dwight McNeil was Everton's highest rated player.
No, but you know what? That's sound because that's a player who wants to play in the front foot.
No problem.
So he's a player for the home games, and then as he picks up more experience of being in the Premier League, he'll understand how to play those games. But that doesn't always work by just playing them in every game. You let them come in.
He's looked great so far.
It's what we're saying about options, though, isn't it?
It's about options. It's about what suits us. It doesn't mean if he gets left out that the manager doesn't like him. It just means that game mightn't be set for him. Injuries, suspensions, it'll all come in for all happen. The way he tackles, he'll pick up bookings. He picked up a booking on Tuesday that I thought was nowhere near a booking. I thought he won the ball, and the ref, being one of those championship refs you're always getting the League Cup, was like quick to the card. So there will be. So you use them all. And it's horses for courses.
I think we'll see a wild selection of different partnerships this season, because I think he likes a lot of them. I think we've seen, obviously we've needed him in the team, but he has give Eric Boonham his chance and he's been praising him. He likes Garner-Gay, he likes James Garner. We're bringing someone else.
Eric Boonham
different partnerships.
Could play,
James Hardwick, yes, to answer your question.
Eric Boonham could play almost like the Decore role, but just a little bit deeper.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
But if you played with a true three, true like that. If you played with a true three and then a high three ahead of them, he shouldn't be getting cut. The best teams play like that. Everton have been Everton basically play 4-5-1. They don't even play a 4-4-1-1. When Sean Dyche was at Burnley, they played a true 4-4-1-1.
You can't play 4-3-3 when your two wide men are as slow as Ned.
It's not even that. It's where they're being asked to play. They're playing asked to be a defensive blanket, and then your strikers isolated. But you're right, with Eric Boonham, he's the one out the midfielders we've got who drives with the ball. Yes, Abdoulaye Doucouré gets in those areas.
He doesn't pick it up and carry it, does he?
Where Tim does. And if you had, say, for some games, Mangala and James Garner, or Mangala and Adisa Garner-Gay, or Adisa Garner-Gay and James Garner behind Eric Boonham, that would fill that need. I'm not talking about, I don't think Ped is, talking about playing him in a number 10.
No.
But talking about him being in the midfield,
the most adventurous of three midfielders.
Of the three midfield players. And other games, you might go, we'll have Illiman and Jai in that role, playing off the centre forward, or it might be Doucouré for some games, or it might be Jesper Lindstrom. Not Jasper, by the way, Sean. Jesper.
Jesper.
There's what Everton want, what we all, I think, surely all of us want as fans, is to be going to the game on Saturday at 1:30 and not sort of knowing who's going to play. And I don't just mean this Saturday, because our numbers are down a bit, but just in general, on a Saturday, or when Ped's doing his starting 11, he's going, I'm not sure.
I think it maybe should be Mangala for this game,
whatever.
or
and
you know what, James Garner should come in.
Wide, you want it up front, you want it in the heart of the defence, you want it a full back, you want to look and go, we've got options everywhere.
I think the key thing is, at the moment, we're far too flat and we're far too static in terms of our formation, between a lack of pace out wide and a lack of options in the middle. There's no way of changing that in terms of the personnel. Bring in options, bring in pace, and we can change it then, and we can go different setups for different games based on the needs of what we want in our midfield in that game. And, the end game is to have that all over the pitch, really, to have different left-back options. Because that's what, all the best teams have. They have 2 players for every position, and of course, you're not going to get there overnight, and it takes money and it takes organisation, but take the first step towards that and give us options in midfield.
I seen something yesterday from that telly's going to go off there, Ped, sorry. You could just sort that for us.
Are you watching it?
We need to see what the monitor is. Okay, let it go off then. Just, be lazy. The remote's there, pass me. Ange Postecoglou was talking about the difference in... The batteries don't work in this, that was good, wasn't it? Ange Postecoglou was talking about players and stuff. I thought it was dead interesting. He said, spent a lot of money. He said, and you have to spend money to get some of these players. He was saying, but there isn't, in his opinion, he said, there's not actually that much difference in players at the top level and players below it. The quality comes from their attitude and from, what's between the ears, basically. I think he's right. I think, unless you're talking, like, of course, Erling Haaland as a centre forward is better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
but a lot of times you can raise the quality of a team without having to spend ridiculous amounts of money on it.
Well, a lot of the players who play, let's say, just below the level of your Haalands, your De Bruynes, they're great players, but not necessarily world-class players. I think the reason we see a lot of these players below hot and cold, and maybe it works at one club, maybe it works at another, is because the levels of quality are there, and they are good enough to play at that level, but either stylistically they don't fit the club they go to, or their attitudes not necessarily their attitude's not right, but they don't fit in.
Can
with
keep it at that
and
well?
Are just as a person comfortable in that working environment, because it's different at every club, isn't
Mentality's huge in football. If you drop off a little bit,
but you can't make players faster.
No, you need some.
Can if you chase them.
You need basic things as well, but you can coach them better, and you can make them play better football, and you can make them play a bit more controlled football. It's why you will see some weeks some players can destroy a team, and you go, man, he's brilliant, and then for the next 3 or 4 weeks, they're just not on it, and you're like, what's that? Like, he looked really good. Well, in that moment, he is really good, and his level. We all do it. We all say players are crap. He's crap. They're playing in the Premier League, not crap. They're really good footballers, because they wouldn't be professional footballers playing in the Premier League.
Yeah,
but
we're saying the crap compared to what's around.
Yeah, you're judging by the standards of what's around them, don't you?
Mentally, what can you do it? It's why when you see players like Lionel Messi and Ronaldo have done it for the number of years they've done it for, every week. You see Mo Salah here, never injured for Liverpool. Never injured, gets 20 goals every single season. How does he keep turning up every year doing it? Harry Kane did it for Spurs every year, whether Tottenham were amazing or they were average. Bang, 20-odd goals, every year turning up, not really dropping his level. That keeps you there. Some players have got loads of ability. So, Damari Gray, people used to say
ability.
Champions League ability and championship decision-making and levels of consistency. Mentality. And that is the key. Some players get a more than what they've got, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're more than their natural
ability.
because the mentality's fabulous.
I think the way football should be and is meant to be in practice is that you have your players and you coach them to do what you need them to do, and they as players, because they play at a high level, they should be able to respond to that and do that. And you only dip into the transfer market if you need something that you don't have, like you want a bigger forward, do you? Or we need a faster player, because you want things you can't coach. You need a player who's naturally left-footed rather than right-footed, things like that. But because football has become so system-based at this point, and every manager has their way of doing it, and they need their exact 11 to make that work, there's far much more turnover, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Matthew Barry says Damasio is a proper beaut. The Italian Charles Stevo. Fair enough, Matt. Steve P says, I've heard a lot of shouts for it, but I don't believe in any world Dwight McNeil should be the number 10. He'd be a squad player or the left back, if anything, for me. I don't believe we should even be playing with a number 10. Every other team plays with 3 centre midfield players, yet we seem obsessed with it. Also mad how this manager won't even consider playing the change in the formation. Playing 3 centre mids would make more sense, where in most games we don't have the ball. It ends up like we're playing with 10 men anyway. That's what I was saying. He doesn't play a true 4-4-1-1, which he did at Burnley. It is a 4-5-1, but then Decore doesn't drop deep enough to help the midfield out in a lot of occasions, so we might be better. And in a proper 4-3-3, your wide players can be higher up the pitch. Therefore, you're putting pressure on the defence of the opposition teams, and you've still got 7 men behind the ball and your goalkeeper. You shouldn't be, you know what I mean? There's little tinkering. obviously a better coach than I am. I'm sat here talking about it, but just watching Everton, I just see we look totally different to any other club, and I don't buy it's the players aren't good enough, because it's not. If it was the same team for 4 years on the run, I'd be going, that's obviously what it is. Everton have brought a lot of players in over the last few years. They're not all bad footballers, no matter what.
Yeah, and I think that's where the shouts like dinosaur and that come in, don't we? Because it looks a little bit old-fashioned. At times, not even old-fashioned in terms of this is how teams used to play. It looks like an imitation of how someone thinks teams used to play. And that, or maybe that's just how it looks in practice
done the
against
same
modern.
sort of thing. It's just that he had probably slightly better players in the offensive area, but it was everyone called him a dinosaur too, and people didn't like. So it is what it is. We can get more out of it, but the idea of being a coach is you make the plays you
maximise
better
them,
and you get everything out of it. And we probably do need to be a bit more offensive, and there could be little tweaks in the formation, definitely. Jake says Tim, Garner and Garner in a flat three could work if you'd have pace in wide areas. Mac says Goodison Park's 8-inch hot dog is the smell of victory.
Goodison doesn't often smell like victory, does it? But it always smells of hot dogs.
Fair play. Everton Viking says, I'd like Newmar. He's definitely a work in progress, but he's rapid. Worry about how we can get the deal done, though, especially if teams are in for him and we can only offer a curly. Well, we won't. We'll be paying him over 5 years, mate. That's how we can get the deal done.
A curly whirly every year.
Stephen Warman says, hi, lads. Great show, as always. Is there any chance we could get Richie on loan from Spurs? That's the one, surely, we go to them tomorrow, just like that. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Daniel. Hello, Daniel Levy. We'll give you first choice on Branthwaite. Can we have Richie back on loan?
Yeah. I mean, that would be a massive lift for the fan base, wouldn't it?
Why don't Spurs just buy Calvert-Lewin and give us Richie on loan? Because then he'd have Dominic wouldn't he? Up front. Have the only team at 2 Dominic, surely, and the front line would be amazing. Dominic replaces Dominic.
I mean, the power that gives them, the Dominic.
The Dominic effect.
Yeah.
Why not?
Ooh.
I'm hoping someone buys all the public transport in the country, so Emma has got no way of getting to work, Jack.
Yeah.
Just want to leave that there.
Okay, I've not seen that. So, Emma, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what he's talking about. Jake says, I thought Lindstrom was poor the other night and find it difficult to see where he'll fit in. He's clearly not a wide player, whereas that and Jai could definitely come off the left, similar to what Pina used to. Well, Lindstrom is a number 10, really, or an attacking midfield player. That's what he is. That he's a clever footballer. You can see little passes. If you see the one he done against Tranmere for Beto's second goal, the little round the corner, little in behind, they're the passes. He ghosts into the box, and that's how he scored goals for Frankfurt. Napoli shoved them out on the right wing, hence it didn't really work. Everton have shoved them out on the right wing, hence it doesn't really work. However, he did create the first goal the other night. So there is bits. He wasn't great, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. He wasn't the most impressive, but I think there was moments, like you say, and I think he's a player that he is one where you can go fair enough. He does need a bit of time, and he does need to, I think, get his confidence up and his fitness as well.
Steve P says, Baz Nuamar is also both-footed. No, I know, but he's predominantly left-footed, but like I said, he can use his right foot. The thing is, people saying another left-footed right winger, the difference is he's got actual genuine pace, which we haven't had in a very long time. Reminds me a bit of Leon Bailey, not gonna lie, and similar to Bakayoko, who I also wanted. Tazul says, out of 10, how likely are we to get Nuamar? No idea.
Go on, give a number.
6.
So, not confident.
I don't know. I believe we're trying and I believe it looks positive, but until they're here and a deal's agreed, anything could happen. So you can't. I don't think you can be positive until he's on his way here. Then you can go, I'm positive now.
Yeah, so it doesn't make a difference. They were positive they were getting Bellingham for 4 years. And
exactly.
So it makes no difference, does it?
Mark says fast winger, but Dom goes and no replacements. Or no fast winger and Dom stays till January.
Fast winger and Dom goes, just because we've got that already. We've got Dom and no fast winger, and it's not working. Yeah,
I'd go with the fast winger.
It's stick or twist,
and Dom goes.
Neither's ideal, but we've seen one doesn't work.
Jay, it definitely doesn't smell like that. I'm not even going to read it. I'll wash your mouth out.
Oh, come on, what did he say?
No, wash your mouth out.
What did he say?
Orange Club, disgusting. Fofana's right-footed. Personally, I'd have him over Breuer, as he's more versatile, has more potential to score goals. Don't see Breuer ever being a goal scorer. Fofana was also the exact type of player we should be going after before Chelsea signed him. Yeah, Tazul says we get another striker. Where does that leave Chimiti? I'd like to see him given a chance. Yeah, but it's up to him to... And I actually think in Dyche's mind, Chimiti's above Beto. So...
At the end of the season, he wasn't he? He was getting the minutes ahead of Beto.
Yeah. Andy says, Baz, what about Santiago Jimenez? Averages 17 goal contributions in the Dutch league, just turned down Forest. Did we sell down?
Yeah.
Why is he turning Forest down? That's what you got to ask yourself.
Yeah, and they're still pushing Forest, aren't they?
It's Holland. Everton Viking says, apparently Premier League clubs don't think he's technically good enough. Adebayo, I have heard that, to be fair. I think he's okay, but I can see why clubs wouldn't want to pay much for him. He's more of a batter and rammed striker. Yeah. Blue Keeley says, Ringer now, Jack. Cakes for the next show.
Cakes for the... Oh, she doesn't deliver.
Oh, God.
Never have to drive down.
Eddie says,
I always deliver.
How real is this? Supposedly we're in talks to sign Lorenz Assignon from Rennes on loan. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't look too much into that right now. Everton Viking Ped, have you seen Rings of Power season 2? It's actually very good, and I hated season 1.
No, it only came out today. What the fuck do you want me to do? I did watch Only Murders in the Building, the first episode last night. But no, Rings of Power only came out like today. Yeah, but you know, I'm a busy man. Got hairdressers to go to and stuff.
You did, to be fair. There you go. Yeah, so listen, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? We've got a member comment here from Blue Badger. Says, welcome to Top Toffees. Is right, Blue Badger.
I mean, he didn't actually say that. He's just joined as a member.
Well, that's okay. Well,
that's what happens when
welcome
you join.
to Top Toffees. I'm reading it out for him. Blue Badger is a new member.
Welcome.
Hello. Welcome, the badge. And it's all good. Everton Abbey wants Maxwell Cornet.
She can't handle Maxwell Cornet.
She couldn't handle Maxwell Cornet.
Can't handle Maxwell Cornet.
It's been and gone, that one, hasn't it? Cornet.
I think so. Yeah. So there you go. The Everton, the 1878 FM podcast. Is it out yet, Ned? He's not listening. It's out.
No.
If it's not out now, it'll be out soon. Check that out. Like, subscribe. It's the Everton 1878 FM podcast out now on YouTube. Yeah, there you go. Go and check it out. Give this a like, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Make sure you do. We will be back tomorrow, of course. Deadline day should be really, really interesting. This and more than the game as well. Lots going on in the world of football. Keep the faith. Pray for Ernest Nuamar to come in as an Everton player, so we've got some legs. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a ride at Everton Football Club. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.